Dipping your toes into the investment world can be a little daunting, especially if you're new to it and you don't have too many friends around you who invest themselves. And that can actually prevent you from investing in your future, financial future, where you can actually have a more comfortable lifestyle or freedom down the line. So I'm going to go through with you today in this video ways you can actually invest in the stock market or invest your money so that you can actually outperform inflation and actually increase your wealth over time. So welcome to the channel, guys, with myself, David Millionaire Incorporated, where I like to go through topics of personal finance, wealth creation, and just general self-development and improvement. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget, guys, smash that subscribe button, drop me a like, leave me a comment, say hello, let me know who you are, and let's dive into the content. So, as I was saying, if you're new to the investing world, it can be a little daunting, especially if you don't have too many friends around you who are quite not knowledgeable in finances and investing and things like that. Now, there is plenty of information on the internet which you can read about or watch YouTube videos like here that can actually help you kind of get started or get you into the right direction. There's also plenty of books out there, which is why I also created that video on 4 books which really helped me with investing and just getting a bit more of financial literacy and understanding. So I'll drop a link to that video down below so you can actually check that out again afterwards. But as I was saying, it can be quite daunting, especially if you're new, and you might have friends out there who will probably say, oh, put your money in this or do this and do that, and you have X amount of gains. But it's not always the way. They might have gotten in at a much better time than you, and it might be a great investment or a great opportunity, but because you might be late to the party or hesitant or don't know what's going on, it might not be such a wise choice for you. As well as that, especially when it comes to crypto at the moment, a lot of people think that they're going to put, say, $1,000 in and walk out of it with $1 million or some exponential amount of return, which isn't quite the case. It does take kind of a little bit of time leaving your money in the actual investment asset itself to kind of grow and accumulate wealth for you. So don't think you're just going to put your money into some kind of investment on the stock market or property or crypto and just become an instant millionaire overnight. It does still take some time, research and investing. And that's another thing as well which kind of holds people back from investing themselves, is they don't know where to find the information, or there is a lot of information out there and it can be quite confusing too. So I'm going to go through with you a few ways that you can actually start investing, more specifically with the stock market, so that you can actually start kind of increasing your wealth and kind of doing better over time for yourself, because leaving your money in the bank won't get you any kind of significant returns over the time and will most likely kind of suffer at the hand of inflation, which currently, or long-term average, is probably about 2-3%. I think the last year is a little bit higher because since COVID, especially here in Australia, coming out of it, things are just flying. And you've probably seen in the States as well, bit of a housing market boom, and it's putting a lot of pressure on the timber industry, which means more demand for timber for building and renovations and things. As a result, not as much supply, forces the prices higher, and it makes it a lot more expensive to do any kind of works. So you want to try and put your money to work for you so that you can combat that inflationary effect, which is kind of eating away the value of your money. So first way of actually investing your money is getting a managed fund. Now, there are many places that you can actually put your money to work in a managed fund. You can go to your local bank and ask them for their managed fund products, and they can give you a list, or even they may even have just one specific one that they use themselves for that bank, where you can put your money into. Now, with that, generally there's quite high fees that will kind of eat away at your returns over time, so you won't kind of have as much of as great a return as what you might hope or expect. But it's a start, so it's a reasonable place to actually kind of get your money to start working for you. If you're beating the inflation rate, you're already ahead. But when it comes to investing and putting money to work for you in managed funds, you got to remember past performance isn't an indicator of future results. So it's kind of like you got to just kind of be careful of what actually where you're putting your money and who's your actual broker and things like that. Another way you can actually invest your money is with a stockbroker. So there's plenty of stockbrokers around town. Depending on where you are, you can pretty much just open up white pages, or I don't even know why I said white pages, shows my age there a bit. Literally hit Google, type in stockbroker near me, and you can literally find someone around near close to you and start investing your money that way. Go sit down with them, find out what they plan to do with your money or for your money, and then invest that way. Similar thing, past performance isn't a predictor of future returns. And one thing when it comes to stockbrokers, and one thing which Warren Buffett, who is one of the better investors over time, says is that a lot of stockbrokers and things can't outperform the market. They may have a couple of good years, but over the long term, they tend to fall short of that return of the market as a whole, and as a result you're not doing as well as you possibly could be. Now, if you have a bit of a financial knowledge already, you might know where I'm already kind of leaning into with my next suggestion for where you can actually put your money, and that's actually an index fund. So as I was saying in the previous example with stockbrokers typically don't over the long term outperform the actual index on the market. So why not just put your money to work for you in the market, like the market as a whole? And you can actually do that, and that's with things called index funds. Now, there are a couple of ways you can actually invest in those, and that's through a trading account of your own, through an ETF, or you can actually contact the certain fund managers who actually have these index funds on their portfolios. The biggest one I think is Vanguard, and so it makes it a lot easier for yourself, especially if you're new to actually investing and putting money to work for you. So that's probably actually the easiest way to actually invest in the actual stock market. You don't need to actually sit down and research companies, don't need to do any price prediction, don't need to look through company reports or anything like that, which does take a lot of time and a lot of skill to actually do. I've actually got a video about that, about quick ways you can actually analyze a stock for beginners. I'll drop the link for that below as well for you. And being able to invest in that index fund makes it a much easier process for you, so that all the work is literally taken out of it for you, and you can actually get the returns of the actual market over the long term. Now, there is ways you can actually invest in that index fund as well, or that ETF following that index fund, and that's through dollar cost averaging, whereby you kind of just put in money every couple of months or every month or two or whatever time frame you like, and it kind of averages out the actual entry price over the long time. So you can kind of you're not kind of investing at the highs all the time and make it a lot more difficult to actually get a decent return. You might hit the high, might hit the low, somewhere in the middle as well, and it kind of averages out all those prices. Ideally, if you're investing your money, you want to kind of buy low, sell high, or buy low and just kind of keep accumulating and holding over the long term. Another quote from Warren Buffett is that it's roughly don't try to time the market, it's all about time spent in the market. So the longer you actually have your money left in your account working for you, you are at the advantage of compounding those results over the long term and increasing your wealth over time with that. And another way you can actually invest your money in the stock market is through trading yourself. So all you literally got to do there is set up a trading account, most notably with Robinhood, or you can do it with one of your local banks. Here in Australia, we got CommSec, Westpac, ANZ. I think NAB's got a trading platform as well. And you can actually, like I said, look into companies which you want to invest in, or companies you may have heard about which you think might be good over the long term, and you can actually invest in those yourself. Now that does, like I said, take a bit more kind of time and effort to actually research companies itself, look through balance sheets, go through company reports, look through the news and things like that. But it sometimes can be a bit fun and can be a bit more rewarding with that as well. Maybe don't put all your money into that strategy. Maybe you can leave like 10% of your actual trading money of what you want to actually invest aside for that, so you can actually have a bit of a punt yourself to kind of get a feel for what you're actually doing, and that way you can kind of develop that skill as well and maybe even move into that kind of down that line so you can actually take a bit more active role in your investments yourself. So those are kind of 4 strategies or 4 ways you can actually invest your money over the long term in the stock market. Like I said, try avoid trading as well, because when trading you can get a bit emotional with it, kind of have a bit of a long-term set and forget kind of idea. Not necessarily forget it completely, you obviously want to kind of have a bit of an active role in it, but don't necessarily just kind of dump your money in, forget it, and just come back 10, 20 years later. That company might go bankrupt, things might happen in the market which are unforeseen, but when there's negative news in the market, it's usually a pretty decent time to actually buy stocks or companies or the actual index itself. Be greedy when others are fearful, and fearful when others are greedy. A little bit like last year in the stock market, it kind of crashed at the start of the pandemic and then took off afterwards. So I hope that's actually been useful for you guys. Don't forget, this isn't financial advice, it's just educational purposes and entertainment. If you need specific financial advice, go see a stockbroker or accountant or lawyer or something like that, a financial advisor, and get tailored financial advice for yourself. As always guys, don't forget, smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. Join the group. Leave me a comment, let me know what you think. Let me know about other strategies you might know about investing as well, that someone in the community might help someone else. And as always, leave me a like, and I'll catch you guys again on the next video. Cheers.